Okay, hello and welcome to this webinar on the Smart City Matrix, how to assess the impact of innovative technologies in Stardust cities. So this is a webinar that's part of a series of webinars for the Stardust Project that is coming to the end right now at the end of the month of March. It began in 2017, so it's been 6 years. And the project, like all Smart City projects, covers mobility, ICT, smart buildings and districts, and energy. And I think for this webinar, we're a little bit on the sort of ICT side, but it sort of covers all of these areas. I'm pleased to welcome two speakers from the Public University of Navarra, UPNA. So welcome to you both, and thanks for agreeing to share your insights today. So first we have Pablo Branchi. So you hold a PhD in architecture and engineering, and you deal with large building innovation projects, new materials and management systems, and also ICT in building processes. So today you will talk through some of the theoretical aspects of the Smart City Matrix. And then following you will be Gustavo Vargas, and you currently work at the Department of Engineering at UPNA as an adjunct professor, and you perform research in materials covering areas such as sustainability, fabrication, and mechanics of materials. And so you'll take us into the sort of more practical aspects of the matrix, okay? So I think what the format is that Pablo we'll give the floor to you first, and then Gustavo, you'll just follow on there, and then we can have any sort of questions or discussion afterwards. Okay, so if you're ready to go, Pablo, you're already sharing your screen, I can see, so over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. We are Pablo and Gustavo, as Mark says. We are researchers from the Public University of Navarra, and today we want to present you the STARDUST City Matrix, that is a tool to assess different aspects of smart city and sustainable cities strategies in order to evaluate their impact on carbon footprint and the quality of life of their citizens. I don't know if this is running. Yeah, okay. Well, a few years ago, we developed a preliminary version of the Smart City Matrix that we called the TAM, Technology Assessment Matrix. The TAM was based on a cross-check double matrix regarding the background of different aspects of cities and the impact the technologies could produce on them. The background was focused on citizens, social aspects, urban space, environmental impact, economic and energy requirements, and the impact was defined by the functionality, the expected results, and the consequences each technology or strategy may produce. Considering a series of indicators by the cross-checks process, the impact of each strategy was evaluated. So we deploy a list of KPIs on each background element depending on its functionality, the expected results, and possible consequences, defining each one from poor to excellent. After that, a series of coefficients were developed taking into account the impact of each technology or strategy on mobility, energy efficiency, and the quality of life. With all those coefficients can be obtained a cumulative value for each technology that we call the TTG, the technology in a global aspect, as well as a partial results regarding the impact on mobility, energy, or quality of life. After that, a first version of the Smart City Matrix was developed, like a big balanced scorecard, assessing how the combination of all smart and sustainable cities strategies work together, considering the level of implementation of each one in order to obtain a smart city label. We made a first test of the Smart City Matrix, assessing the Pamplona's Smart City strategy, evaluating each technology plan or implemented and their impact on mobility, energy, and quality of life. With this, we were able to analyze which technologies had a greater and better impact on the city and which, although good in themselves, were not as relevant in the whole city strategy. When we translate all this theory to the STARDUST indicators, the matrix became more complex, mainly because there were more analysis groups, from the initial mobility, energy, and quality of life to buildings and districts, energy, e-mobility, ICTs, and common city level. We presented this reviewed Smart City Matrix to STARDUST partners in 2019 to be evaluated, but then the pandemic forces us to pause. After this break, we asked the cities to share with us their smart and sustainable initiatives and indicators, but was very difficult to fit them with those defined in 2019. We saw all their strategies were aligned with Sustainable Development Goals of 2030 agenda, and was necessary to the redefinition of all impact assessment indicators and the assessment methodology. So each KPI group has been set into 3 topics. So sustainable urban planning was developed in sustainable land use planning, renaturalization and nature-based solution actions, and climate change adaptation measures. Sustainable mobility was developed in mobility management, public transport services, and pedestrian and non-motorized transport. Sustainable housing and constructions was developed on renovation and new construction at private property, renovation and new construction at public properties, and construction and demolition waste and recycled materials. Sustainable energy was developed in centralized and decentralized renewable energy, management of energy networks and services, and decarbonization measures. Sustainable consumption was deployed in circular economy and life cycle environmental impacts, sustainable industry, business and services, and waste management. And last, sustainable governance was deployed in measures of socioeconomic development, environmental and climate policies, and promotion of environmental awareness. And that's how we reached the final STARDUST City Matrix with more than 60 indicators to be evaluated in order to obtain the big picture of cities' sustainable level and the impact their strategies could have on carbon footprint. Well, now I will give the floor to my colleague Gustavo, who will explain to you how the online Smart City Matrix tool works. The idea is to you to fulfill the matrix with your city's information with the intention of obtaining the greatest number of results, both for the final STARDUST Project report to be as complete as possible, but mainly for you to obtain useful information for the designing of your city's strategies. Please, Gustavo, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Pablo, for your presentation. Thank you also, Mark and Ilaria, for your kind invitation to this webinar, and thank you to the attendants. I'm going to give you, as stated by Mark, the most practical perspective of the matrix. So I'm going to show you. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you have at the reports and at the information sheet and at this PowerPoint, you have the link for the matrix that it's online. Okay. So when we start filling out the matrix, the information in the matrix, the most important thing in our perspective is having the data. It's very important that any city or any person that is in charge of entering the data on the matrix to review previously what's the information that is asked. As Pablo stated, what is the big picture of your city? So we developed those key indicators of performance we grouped it in 6 groups, and those have like subsections. So it's very important for you to review previously what's the information regarding your city. This is the most time-consuming activity of this task. And then fulfilling the matrix, it's a quite straightforward activity, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of how fulfilling the data would be. So the first thing is entering a given username. Let's say this is trial for the webinar N, let's say a given number. I'm going to show you a given example of an European city, and I will set Ghent, okay? A city in Belgium. It could be any other city, of course. Okay, so I will work on Ghent. The population of Ghent is 265,000 inhabitants. So let's write it here. It will be, I forgot the number. So it's like 10,000, and the urban area in square kilometers. So it's like 156. I'm sorry, 156. Okay, so once you have that, you can start just like entering the information, and you must answer step by step, section by section, and subsection by subsection. So it's like, do you have in your city any projects related with land regeneration? Do you? So if you have or none, and then what's the scale of those projects? It is, for example, in a district scale. Do you have conversion of existing infrastructures? It's like, no, we don't. And then you follow step by step, section by section. Do you have manage of urban growth? How do you manage that urban growth? Do you have projects regarding this aspect? So it's like, yes, we have a pilot project and so on. So you have all the options, yes. You can, if you don't have a given aspect of it, you can go to stage 2, say it's not fulfilled completely, but you say like, okay, I will continue later. So I want to continue, yes. So you go to aspect B, section B, that is mobility. So you go to, yeah, for example, logistics systems and transport networks. But the thing is, do you have that system in your city? It's like, yes, we have a given project that is local, okay? So you choose local. And then you go step by step, leading the information that you already have in each part of the matrix. This case, the question is regarding public transport services. So do you have any initiative on that area? Do you have information? Do you have data about the intensity of passenger and freight transportation in your city? It's like, yes, in Ghent, we have that information. And then you go step by step further going into them, okay? So you go to step 3. Step 3 is regarding housing. Let's suppose we don't have information about housing yet. So you can go to the next section, stage 4. Yes, I know. And then you go to aspect D, section D, about energy. So do you have information about what's the share of renewable and non-renewable energy in your city from the consumer perspective or production? consumption or production. So do you have, you don't, what's the scale of the project? And then you go step by step, yeah? I'm not going to bore you with just like filling up given data on it. But the thing is that we already have information that was given by the city of Tampere in Finland. So this is just a trial, okay? You go to section E regarding production and consumption, and you go the same thing as previous sections, okay? You end with section 6, and then it would deal with governance. And then you must have that information before fulfilling the matrix, okay? And at the end, you will have those unselected values in given stages. In this case, it's in all the stages, but anyway, it's a trial. And then you will have the information saved, and you can go in another moment when you have that information, okay? If you go home, as I told you before, we have a given trial that we did with the data of Tampere. We can load the information. We can go to that. This is the answer. I mean, this is the given. Yeah, the outcome, the final outcome of the matrix. But of course, you can edit it. So you can go, and as you can see here, this information was fulfilled with the data that we had before, and it was given by the city of Tampere, okay? So we fulfill the matrix stage by stage, yes? As I showed you with the trial, you go stage by stage, and I'm going to show you at the end, as Pablo commented just before, what would be the final report, where you would see the labeling of each aspect and the overall labeling. So the label that in this case the Tampere city in Finland would obtain would be label B, okay? And you can see in each section what would be the score, okay? In sustainable urban planning, label B, and the score that you have in that section. Similarly, you go to sustainable mobility, you have an A+, sustainable housing, you have label E, in this case, sustainable energy, we would have label C, and so on, okay? With every single section and subsection, you will see how many points do you have. You can, of course, see where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses, what are the opportunities that you have as a city, where you should do some efforts to increase the labeling and of course, the points, and having all the information in just one single matrix, okay, for giving the final outcome, the final result of having an overall score of your city. In this case, for Tampere would be score or label B, okay? So that's the way you do it. It's quite straightforward, as I said before, but the most important thing is having the information in advance. If you collect the information in advance, it will be pretty easy and is not time demanding. Will be, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes for fulfilling the matrix, and then having this big picture, as Pablo commented before in his presentation, of how would be your city from a sustainable perspective. I don't know, Pablo, if you have any other comments about it.
Yeah, Well, as Gustavo is commenting, the most important thing is to collect information first, and to help you for doing this at the home of this online matrix, you have an user guide that will help you to see what information do you need, and then there is important to notice that this is a live document, so a live matrix. As you can see, you can go further and backward to fulfill in different moments, and maybe you find a new information, a new data, and you can modify this. That is a very flexible instrument to you to make changes in every moment, because maybe you have the big picture of today, but maybe in 6 months or 2 years the city implement a new strategy or a new technology, and you can have a new picture with this aspect modified.
Thank you to both of you there. I'd just like to sort of come back on a couple of things. I did have a question, but Pablo, you may have just answered it just in that last minute there. My question was, how often would you expect a city to update the matrix? Now, Pablo, you were saying that perhaps it might actually depend on what's going on. If there's a new policy or a new project going on, then that might be the opportunity to update it. Or would you just expect a city to do it maybe once a year? How would you envisage that?
Yeah, I think the once a year is the most usual way to do this, because the cities or the different departments of the cities make these annual reports. But maybe a city manager could be doing a trial with the matrix, because you have the ongoing picture of this year, but maybe some area of the city, I don't know, mobility, maybe says, what will happen if we implement a sort of a new policy or thing? You can make some trial, and you can see which will be the impact of this strategy. Not just expecting to be implemented. So you can make some trial before implement some strategy or some policy or some new technology to the city. And we think this is the most important use of this tool, that you can design your strategies with proposals before to be implemented, and to see the future impact of these technologies or strategies or policies.
Yeah, and I suppose you were both talking about the time-consuming part is really collecting the information, and I suppose that if a city were to adopt the matrix, perhaps the first time they fill it in, they will have to collate all this data, but perhaps the second time round, they know where they're going, and it will be easier to identify the information that is needed.
Indeed.
So I guess it will be less time consuming as time goes on, correct?
And of course, the more you are used to the matrix, the more you use the matrix, the easier would be the way you are using it, because you know exactly, as Mark highlighted it, you know exactly what information you're going to go with. So it would be just like, I don't know, a couple of minutes, just updating it, because you know the previous data and you know the current one. So it would be just like, yeah, it's not significant. The important thing is not, from my perspective, from time from time-wise consuming. The important thing is not fulfilling the matrix, but gathering the information. Gathering the information is the time-consuming activity. Then just filling the matrix is not significant.
And is the matrix suitable for any type of city? Any, I'm thinking different sizes, different climatic zones, or for example, you talked about Pamplona, but what about the sort of the villages and, well, or smaller towns in the region and also in other European regions? Does it work better on a particular size of town or not?
No, well, the matrix was designed with the perspective of European cities. Not just for the scale of the cities or the climate influence to their cities, but yes, about the carbon footprint, because the improvement of the carbon footprint is calculated regarding the media of European cities' impact on carbon strategies. So this matrix is not, until today, is not designed regarding another continents or another countries outside Europe. But answering your question, the scale of the city is not relevant to this study, or the climate is I don't know, the climate aspects are involved in their own questions of the matrix, because all the questions you must to answer are adapted to your city and to your own strategy, because as you could see, all the answers are you implementing some strategies regarding those aspects? It's not so important the particular data. It's more regarding the main strategy of the city. If you have one strategy today and you are implementing something to improve the previous strategy, is where you will get that information on the improvement of the global aspect of the city. I don't know, Gustavo, if you can,
I mean, I agree with Pablo that the scale of the city, the size of the city is not an issue. The thing is that maybe a small town, given a small town in, I don't know, in Germany, wouldn't have the initiatives for implementing at that scale. For example, pedestrian walks, I don't know, or public transportation with electrical vehicles, or refurbishment of housing. I don't know if, I mean, maybe as a tiny town in a given country has those initiatives, but maybe it doesn't. So the information wouldn't be complete. The picture wouldn't be complete. So maybe if we have a small city, it would be advisable having a bigger scale. I mean, with other municipalities or connecting with a region, something that could sustain or could withstand the information for this big picture of sustainability in an urban space. But if you get, I don't know, Rome or Paris or Madrid, I mean, for sure you have the information.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what are your hopes then for this matrix? You're hoping to extend this to many other cities. What are your sort of plans for that now?
Well, the matrix was designed looking to the partners of the STARDUST project. Returning to the scale of the city's idea we were commenting, it was designed regarding medium cities around 200,000 people. But we hope to this matrix to be useful for another cities, more cities of this scale, outside the STARDUST umbrella, but also for bigger cities like Gustavo said, Rome, Paris, Berlin. That was the idea. We designed this matrix, as I said before, looking to European cities regarding the different realities of European cities in a medium and large scale. Maybe as Gustavo said before, in a very little city, I don't know, under 10,000 people, the matrix is not so useful. But we think in cities with more than 10 and 20,000 people and bigger, there is very useful to design their strategies, to analyze or to assess their policies and so on. So we hope to all European cities bigger than 10 or 20,000 people could use this matrix and help us to improve the way the matrix works, with more information or more data, with more case studies to make this matrix useful for all the European cities, and why not for another continents or another countries. But we are now focused in European cities.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't know whether you want to, before we sort of close, I don't know whether you want to say anything more. We might have covered everything for now.
Yes, I think everything was said already.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, well, thank you to both of you. And I just remind listeners that there's a lot of information now that we're at the end of the STARDUST project. There's a lot of information on the website. In fact, there's an info sheet covering your matrix there as well. And of course, this video will be put on the YouTube and through the social media, so it will be available to listen to there. So thanks again for sharing your insights, and well, good luck with the future of this matrix.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Same
Bye-bye.
for you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.